dog killed a baby boy. Family members were watching him while his parents were out. And we're taking a live look at the Space Coast. We hoped we wouldn't see that rocket on the ground at this time. A launch with astronauts on board was scrubbed.
Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings has made a lot of news this week. I'm your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti, and coming up, we caught up again with Demings Thursday amidst growing concerns over the county's relationship with ICE.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at 4 p.m.
Dragon SpaceX, bad luck on weather there. We just got clipped by a cumulus cloud right over the pad, so ended up scrubbing for weather.
Now at 4, scrubbed. 4 astronauts who are supposed to be on their way to the International Space Station right now remain on the ground with us. Their mission called off for today 1 minute before liftoff because the weather over the pad was undesirable. Meteorologist Samara Kinos joins me now. Samara, a lot of people were disappointed they didn't get to see that rocket go up, but this is all for the safety of those members on board. So what were you seeing over the pad at that time?
So whenever you look and you saw those ominous looking clouds, right, it may not have been the actual storm cell that was over it, but what happens is you can't send a rocket into clouds like that because as it's going up into the atmosphere, it's creating friction. And so it can create its own lightning. And I mean, that is just really not what you need, especially with people on board. So that's the reason why they say, hey, the cumulus rule, we can't fly through cumulus, we can't fly when there's lightning around. And, you know, those conditions were definitely out there. Even though it wasn't a thunderstorm, there was the likelihood of that, you know, all of that friction that we were just talking about. Here was at 12:08 this afternoon, here was that isolated cell just a little bit to the north of Kennedy Space Center. So you'll notice some rain right there. That was probably, all of that was probably associated with the cell that basically caused the scrub. And then you saw the stuff behind it, right? All of this behind it played into that too, because you'll notice all of that kind of basically made its way toward the Kennedy Space Center from there. And it was just going to continue to be driven from west to east, courtesy of this area of high pressure. Notice the flow around it, pushing all of the rain from west to east. And that was basically the setup this afternoon. So by tomorrow, though, this is what it's looking like. I think there's going to be an 85% chance for go, high of 91, but I do believe that we could see some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms in the forecast around that time. So we'll go ahead and pinpoint that coming up in just a little bit. Matt?
Samara, thank you. So when these launches go up from our Space Coast, especially crewed launches, people come from all over to see them in person. News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden caught up with some space fans who stopped at Kennedy Space Center to see the launch.
I wanted to see it. I thought it launched, but we didn't see it after. They did the countdown, but then it just never launched. So we
yeah, it stopped with 1:07 left on the clock. So how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed were you?
9. I don't
And
know.
have you ever seen one before?
No, I haven't. That's why we're excited.
We wanted to see the launch. Yeah, we wanted to see the launch. We've never seen like an up-close launch, but it's cool. They're probably going to reschedule it. We'll probably come back and see it. It's no biggie.
It's tomorrow.
Really? Okay. Yep.
I like the positive attitudes. The scrub is another setback for rookie astronaut Zena Cardman. Crew 11 is supposed to replace Crew 10 on the International Space Station. They've been on the space station for nearly 5 months. Both crews are scheduled to stay on that space station until together while Crew 11 gets acclimated. Then Crew 10 will return to Earth in Crew 11's Dragon capsule. It's the second bump for Cardman now. She was bumped from a space flight last fall to bring 2 Starliner astronauts home after their trip extended.
I'm a human being. I'm an astronaut. I want to fly in space. But seeing my teammates come off of that aircraft and seeing Butch and Sunny come off as well, it was really special. And I was so grateful that I got to be there and hug them in person.
So NASA will try again tomorrow at 11:43 a.m. If the launch happens, you can watch it live on News 6, clickorlando.com, and the News 6 Plus app. We're working to learn some more details now about what investigators are calling a shootout in Eatonville. This happened last Tuesday night in the Catalina Park subdivision. It's right off Kennedy Boulevard in Wymore. Investigators say people called in and described the scene as a shootout. Witnesses told police they saw 4 men wearing ski masks with semi-automatic rifles. They left in separate cars. Police say so far they're not hearing about any injuries or victims. As soon as we learn more, we'll keep you updated. Some tragic news now out of Ormond Beach. Deputies say a family dog killed a baby boy. This is an awful story. Family members tried to help that 5-month-old, but he didn't make it. News 6's Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed spoke with the sheriff about how all this happened. Molly?
The sheriff here says that this was just a tragic and unbelievably sad incident, and one where the family truly thought they were being careful. He says that the great-grandmother and the great-aunt were babysitting the 5-month-old as the parents went out for the mother's birthday dinner.
Every young mother will remember on her birthday that her child is dead. And the grandparents, I mean, I just don't know how anybody feels about this. It is so tragic.
Sheriff Chitwood says the grandmother put the child in a crib in a bedroom and shut the door. He says she then let the dogs out of their crates after keeping them separated from the baby.
They go into the kitchen to make tea and toast, and when they return, they notice that the bedroom door is open.
Sheriff Chitwood says the 2-year-old Great Dane was able to open the door and got to the infant. The baby was on the floor bleeding when the grandmother got inside the room.
As she's on the phone with 911, mom and dad come home. They see the little boy, they scoop him up, and they rush him to Advent Hospital in Daytona Beach, where he is pronounced dead.
The dog was taken by Volusia County Animal Services. It didn't have any history of aggressive behavior, according to the county.
A 5-month-old is how big compared to a 130-pound puppy that could just simply think it's a toy or whatever, and then grabs it and bites it and shakes it and obviously kills the baby.
The dog is being held by Volusia County Animal Services. Now, there will be a 10-day hold with the dog. The family has the time to appeal during that 10-day hold. Then the dog will eventually be euthanized. In Volusia County, I'm Molly Reed, News 6.
All right, Molly, thank you. Well, the Orange County mayor today is doubling down on his pushback against Florida's Attorney General on ICE transports. Yesterday, Only News 6 brought you team coverage on the tensions spilling out in dual press conferences. Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti has more on the back and forth, but he starts with the concerns from the mayor about the cost of housing federal inmates.
County leaders tell us it costs about $145 per day to house an inmate in the Orange County Jail. And per an intergovernmental service agreement for a federal inmate, the feds reimburse the county at a rate of $88 per day. The discrepancy did not get much attention until this year, when ICE, with the cooperation of the state of Florida, ramped up immigration enforcement, detaining more undocumented immigrants at a faster clip.
To date, the state hasn't kicked in any money in terms of whatever the difference is. We're working with our comptroller's office to really validate what the true cost is for Orange County to hold federal inmates in our facilities.
News 6 spoke to Mayor Jerry Demings Thursday, a day after the mayor and Attorney General James Uthmeier clashed over a letter that Uthmeier sent signaling that if the county does not sign onto a modified ICE agreement to transport federal inmates to places like Alligator Alcatraz, then there would be consequences, perhaps even removal from office.
I spent more years on the streets of Florida patrolling our streets as a law enforcement officer than he's been alive.
I know the mayor said some, disparaging things about me. That's all fine and good. My response is, look at the law.
Do you think your comments were disparaging at all in reference to the Attorney General?
I haven't heard him say that, but if he did, my comments were directly related to the letter that we received and comments that he's made.
He was possibly alluding to the fact that you mentioned his age, that he's 37, and that you've been in law enforcement longer than he's been alive.
I'm not going to go there. I said what I said at that point. We'll move forward. The state has not had great communication with us about the immigration issues. We just got a letter released via the media. They didn't even afford us the courtesy of directly sending the letter to us. And so I don't know, when you say disparaging, listen, we're going to move forward.
And speaking of moving forward, Orange County commissioners plan to address the modified ICE agreement at their next meeting Tuesday. When we asked Demings whether he will stay the course and refuse to sign it, he said, stay tuned. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
So next week on Tuesday and Wednesday, Florida's DOJ will also be in Orange County to start their audit on spending. Well, today is a big day for the Lake Mary Little League team. They're so close to returning to the Little League World Series for the second year in a row. Sports Director Jamie Say joins us now live in the studio with their win today. And what's next, Jamie?
Yeah, Matt, 1 win down, 3 more wins to go for Lake Mary baseball. The defending Little League World Series champions cleared their first hurdle at the Southeast Regionals today, and it was an impressive one, too. Today, Lake Mary opened up against Nolensville, Tennessee, a program that won the Southeast Regional in 2021, 22, and 23. Lake Mary strikes first in this game. First inning, Jacob Brown grounds to short. Levi Rodriguez scores from third base. And it's 1-0 All-Stars. Their defense was outstanding today. Nolensville with the grounder to second. Colin Anderson cleans it up, throws to first for the double play. It's still 1-0 Lake Mary in the fourth, but Nolensville ties it right here on the RBI ground out. So that makes the game 1-1. But top of the fifth, Lake Mary retakes the lead. Runners on the corners for Maddox Novichkov. He sends a deep fly to center for a sac fly. Jacob Brown tags and scores. Lake Mary takes the lead, and here is your final out. Lake Mary prevails 2-1 over Nolensville. That is a big, big win. So the All-Stars advance to the winner's bracket now. They're going to face a team from West Virginia tomorrow at 4 o'clock. If Lake Mary goes 4-0 or 4-1 at the Southeast Regionals, they're going to win it and advance to the Little League World Series for the second year in a row. Matt?
Could they do it again?
Absolutely they can.
That they can, Jamie. Thank you. Well, are you going to the beach in this heat? The hot temps didn't stop thousands of people from going to the beach to see a 300-pound turtle make it home. Why it was so important for them to be there. That's coming up.
Bad news if your travel plans take you to Terminal C here at the airport this summer. This is still the only way to get there if you're coming from right there. Why they're behind schedule. I'm Eric Von Anken digging into this coming up.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
There is still only one way to walk to Terminal C from right here, the train or the tram. So to be clear, if you're arriving here in the new Terminal C, the tram station is right down there. You can see it coming in from the old Terminals A and B. Or if you're arriving here from the Brightline station, you still cannot use that new pedestrian bridge. You still must trek through there, the parking garage, for at least another month, what is typically the hottest month of the year.
I'm sweating. I'm tired. I don't want to do this no more.
Since 2022, when Terminal C first opened, I've been telling you about one of the chief complaints.
It just gets stuck there and then everything falls off.
The hike. Passengers loaded with luggage forced to trudge through the open-air parking garage over the rubber expansion joints that are not friendly to small suitcase wheels. The better way, an indoor pedestrian bridge, has been in the works since 2023, when the airport awarded the $100 million construction contract to an airport builder called White's. But according to this email sent to Orange County's mayor back in May from a White's subcontractor, 12 local subs were not paid by White's $10 million for their work on the bridge for more than half a year. The email says White's is supposed to pay subs within a week. We were tipped off that subcontractors had stopped showing up, so work on the bridge had stopped. White's told me it does not comment on issues related to individual contracts, but, quote, while we recognize that disputes can arise and often involve differing perspective, we are actively meeting with both the airport and subcontractors to work towards resolution, end of quote.
And according to the airport, this dispute is now mostly resolved, but still some disputed amounts are being worked through. But this dispute has been quite costly, especially for travelers, passengers who must continue to use that cut-through parking garage to get to the other side of Terminal C until early September, late August at the soonest, from what I've been told. Remember, this was supposed to be done last fall. At the airport, Eric Von Anken, News 6.
Things not on schedule at the airport? Hard to believe. All right, taking a live look over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. Today, the City Beautiful is celebrating its 150th birthday. Orlando was founded as a frontier town back in 1875. To celebrate, the city has been holding a bunch of events. On Tuesday, there was a commemorative bench unveiling. Today is a day of service, and in honor, the city is 150 degrees out today. So it's super hot.
Yeah, feels like it.
The temperature is almost to the age. We have Samara Kokinos in as our meteorologist tonight. So Samara, heat advisory still, huh?
Still in place through 7 o'clock, and that goes for everyone, where it could feel like not 150, but it kind of feels like that if you stay out there too long, doesn't it? Anywhere between 108 and 110 is what it feels like all across Central Florida. You'll notice everywhere in that orange under that heat advisory through 7 o'clock tonight. And when we look at temperatures and compare them to your feels like temperatures, you can definitely tell this is the reason why we are under that heat advisory. Check out Palm Coast, 97 degrees, feeling like 110. Meanwhile, at the Cape, they're at 92, feeling like 109. Clermont at around, it feels like 100 degrees while it sits at 90. The same thing for Leesburg. The Village is at 89 and feels like 109. So we're going to continue to see heat advisories through the end of the work week. Late day storms do begin to pick up, especially as we head into the weekend. We'll have a higher storm chance, especially as we wrap up the weekend and head into next week. The good news right now, the tropics, well, they're nice and quiet. Looking at the big picture, though, for tomorrow, you'll notice that we have this front. This front right here is actually going to stall a little bit farther to the south. And basically, we're going to continue to push in a lot of moisture. The high pressure that we've been experiencing is going to be shifted a little bit to the south and east. That's what's been driving our sun thunderstorms from the west to the east. And we'll look at this particular system, and that's going to give us a lot more moisture, so it's definitely going to feel it. I don't believe your humidity is going to go anywhere, but definitely rain chances are going to go up. So as we look live at the radar this evening, really not a whole lot of action, not anticipating a bunch of action, but we do have an isolated thunderstorm kind of making its way from Lakeland through parts of Polk County tonight, and a few showers there over Sumter County and a little bit over southwestern Orange County, but that is about it, folks. Now, the clouds and rain forecast does start to say, hey, listen, we could see a few more showers develop along the I-4 corridor and to the east, but I think it's going to be very few between. So as we head into tomorrow, we start the day at 7 o'clock in the morning. You'll notice plenty of sunshine to start the day. As the afternoon rolls around, that's when we start to see a few clouds billow up and maybe a few downpours. So we're going to be watching that as we get closer to launch time for tomorrow's launch. You'll notice between 11:45 noon, it starts to get a little cloudy. We could see some thunderstorms or some showers move into the area around noon, while we could have a few downpours also. But watch this. All of the coverage of rain is going to be around I-4 and to the south or into southeast. So I think that's where the majority of your rain coverage is going to be, and we're going to put that rain coverage at around 40%. So a live view from Daytona Beach this afternoon. It's beautiful, but it's hot. 95 in Orlando, Sanford, 93 in Daytona. Melbourne, you're sitting at 90. Tonight, here's a look at that forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
We're going to have lows in the mid to upper 70s to lower 80s. And as we take a look here at the forecast for your 7-day forecast, here we go. Sweltering heat continues on Friday going into Saturday, 40 to 50% rain coverage, highs of 96 and 95. But as we bump up that rain chance to about 70%, we're going to stay closer to the lower 90s with overnight lows in the upper 70s. Matt?
Samara, thank you. A 300-pound turtle is now back home, and she had a lot of company getting there.
It was amazing. I started to cry.
How vets helped the pregnant sea turtle bounce back after a boat damaged her shell.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
Well, thousands of people gathered on a South Florida beach. It wasn't for a party. It was to witness the release of a 300-pound pregnant sea turtle. Brooke Silverang has the story.
I think this is the most I've.
First-timers Kelly, Tiffany, and Olivia were some of the thousands that gathered Wednesday morning in the heat on Juno Beach to watch the release of a very special patient.
It was amazing. I started to cry.
Pennywise is a 300-pound adult loggerhead sea turtle and arrived at Loggerhead Marine Life Center on May 18th. She was found stranded and floating off the coast of Port St. Lucie by In-Water Research Group. Pennywise suffered significant blunt force trauma to her shell from a boat strike. The staff and volunteers at Loggerhead Marine Life Center were shocked to find out that Pennywise is pregnant and carrying eggs.
We are so excited to get her released back out into the ocean so she has an opportunity to lay her eggs, nest somewhere on our beautiful beaches. She's a perfect example of what we do at Loggerhead Marine Life Center in rehabilitating these endangered turtles.
Sea turtles return to the same beach where they hatched to lay their own eggs.
I love how many people were interested in that to go out to the beach. That's awesome. Well, during a time when we're seeing everything go up in price, people in one community say they're especially concerned about their high water bills. We're getting answers next. Plus, a vet tech is accused of abandoning her own pets, leaving them to die. Why investigators say it's not the first time she's been accused of this. Welcome back. We're following several top stories for you right now. Weather is to blame for the scrubbed launch of Crew 11 to the International Space Station. It was supposed to launch this afternoon at 12:09, but with only a minute and 7 seconds left until liftoff, NASA called the whole thing off. NASA says the morning Start out with ideal weather, but then the wind picked up and the clouds rolled in. They will try again tomorrow morning at 11:43. Tragic all the way around. That's what Volusia Sheriff Mike Chitwood said earlier today. About a 5-month-old boy killed by a dog. This happened late yesterday at a home on Carolina Avenue near Ormond Beach. The sheriff says the dog's a 2-year-old Great Dane. It's now in possession of Volusia County Animal Services. There's a 10-day hold on the dog. The family can appeal if they want, and then eventually the dog would be euthanized. Eatonville police say they're looking for 4 people involved in a shootout. It happened Tuesday evening in the Catalina Park subdivision. No injuries have been reported and no other information has been released. We're asking questions. We'll update you as soon as we know some more. Some people in St. Cloud say their water bills are unusually high. Toho Water Authority says they are aware there's a problem, but not everybody's situation is the same. Your Osceola community correspondent Laverne McGee spoke with one homeowner to get results.
How does it double when we have done nothing different? And there's been times when we've gone away for a week.
Andrew Croak invited us over to his house in St. Cloud to see his water bill for ourselves. Some months around $65 and others around $150, then back down to about $80. The graph compares month-to-month usage, so clearly there's not a leak or it would not go up and down. Croak is part of the Facebook group St. Cloud Rants and Raves, where there are dozens of people with similar complaints.
We do, almost 2 loads of laundry a week. We'll wash our work clothes, all together in one big load, and then we'll wash our towels. And that's pretty much all we do.
He also said he was having trouble getting answers from customer service. I contacted Toho Water Authority, who said they would assist him right away. They told me they're aware of the complaints and they've been trying to work with customers, saying in part, quote, "Our biggest focus has been addressing a rise in failures of the electronic devices that wirelessly send their water usage readings to our billing system. This issue was first identified in January. About 6,500 devices failed in St. Cloud. And we have replaced more than 26,000 devices since February 14th. We expect to replace another 30,000 of them this year with our accelerated plan and project that most of the system will be replaced over the next 3 to 5 years.
I feel like there's a lot of gray area with Toho, and they're just kind of being pretty shady.
Toho Water Authority also told us people might have leaks and that each home may have a different situation. Your Osceola County community correspondent, Laverne McGee, News 6.
In Deltona, people there also told us they're seeing high water bills. We went to figure out what's going on. The city says there are usually 3 main culprits: irrigation systems, running toilets, and water softeners not balanced properly. Deltona also serves about 38,000 water customers, but only 8,000 are connected to the city's sewer system. That small group is footing the cost of wastewater treatment, too.
If you do have a problem with your bill, or you feel like there's a problem with your bill, contact the city and we will do our very best to figure out what's happening.
Now the city is rolling out some new smart meters to help monitor usage and avoid those costly surprises. How can News 6 get answers for you? Go to the News 6 app or clickorlando.com, click Contact Us. Let us know how we can help you. Meantime, the mayor in Oviedo says she's putting together a list of people using too much water. She says it's more of a friendly reminder. The mayor's list, starting with 4 neighborhoods: McKinley's Mill, Bentley Woods, Twin Rivers East and Twin Rivers West. The list will take a look at the 30 highest water users. The mayor told News 6's Jana Manohalal how people water their yards is really the issue.
So really, we need people to stop using drinking water on their grass to do the most we can for the aquifer.
Do you think they even know that they're using potable water?
No. A lot of people, I don't think, realize it.
The mayor says these neighborhoods don't have access to reclaimed water. She recommends having plants that don't use a ton of water.
So I have in my front yard that I do not irrigate, I have patches of St. Augustine. The roots, I'm not kidding you, they are 9 inches deep. St. Augustine can grow in very dry conditions, and if you put 4 inches of water on it, oh, it's happy.
So everybody on the list will get a letter sent to their homes. The mayor says the goal of the list is to save homeowners some money. A failing stormwater pipe caused a big hole at a Kissimmee apartment complex. It forced people out of their homes. This is all happening at the Kissimmee Homes Apartments on McLaren Circle. It's right off North Main Street. Because it's on private property, it's up to the owner to fix it. For now, the building next to the hole has been tagged as limited entry. That means people can get stuff from inside, but they can't stay there because it's unsafe. Now, a disturbing scene where a vet tech is accused of abandoning her own pets. Investigators say she left her 2 dogs and a cat inside an apartment on their own. Sometime in December, they died. News 6's Angie Casada tells us what deputies found and why they say it's not the first time this woman has been accused of neglect.
In a video released by the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, a perp walk shows 23-year-old Christiana Miller being taken into custody, accused of abandoning her own dogs and cat for months. Investigators say the photos from inside her Rockledge apartment were so graphic we had to blur them. The sheriff says a pest control worker discovered the decomposing animals back in April after a call to spray for bugs revealed hundreds of flies inside. Miller, a vet tech, told authorities she hired a pet sitter off social media, but according to the sheriff, she couldn't provide a name or any proof of payment. The animals, 2 dogs named Opal and Rudy and a cat named Noki, were found locked in a bedroom with food placed out of reach on a shelf. The sheriff also revealed this isn't the first time Miller's been accused of neglecting animals, saying a similar case from earlier this year in Volusia County involved a starved dog that later died. Now, this morning, Miller bonded out from the Brevard County Jail on a nearly $30,000 bond. In studio, Angie Casada, News 6.
An undercount in Florida's 2020 census could cost the state up to $21 billion in federal aid. That's according to Florida Tax Watch. The nonprofit based this on a survey from the U.S. Census Bureau that found Florida was underestimated by about 3.5%. After the census, Florida gained only 1 congressional seat, which was less than expected, as there were concerns that Florida, Arizona, and Texas undercounted Hispanic residents. Governor Ron DeSantis had suggested the federal government might order a mid-decade census update to fix these issues.
There's some districts in this state where you have way more votes being cast than in other districts in these races. And you wonder, how is it that that ends up shaking out the way it does? So I do think that we're malapportioned within the state as well as malapportioned in the country.
So states with population overcounts were Delaware, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New York, Ohio, Rhode Island, and Utah. Taking a live look at the White House now, where the president has set an August 1st deadline for countries to strike a new trade deal or face some stiffer consequences. With just a few hours left, one of America's largest trading partners does not have a deal yet, and the conflict in Gaza could threaten that. Erica Brown has details from Capitol Hill.
As President Trump's trade deal deadline quickly approaches, he's announced a 90-day pause on higher tariffs from Mexico to allow negotiations to continue. But other trading partners who haven't reached a deal will see increased tariffs kick in on Friday.
The rest of those countries that either do not have a deal or have a letter, they will be hearing from this administration by the midnight deadline tonight. So yes, tomorrow, August 1st, the reciprocal rates will be going into effect.
Trump also says Canada's recent plans to recognize Palestinian statehood could threaten trade talks between the two countries. The White House says recognizing Palestinian statehood rewards Hamas, which still holds Israeli hostages. But the administration also acknowledges Israel's reluctance to allow critical food aid into Gaza.
Well, the backlash should be against Hamas. If Hamas released the hostages, if Hamas put down their weapons, there would be no problem.
The president dispatched Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and discuss allowing more aid into Gaza.
Tomorrow, Special Envoy Witkoff and Ambassador Huckabee will be traveling into Gaza to inspect the current distribution sites and secure a plan to deliver more food and meet with local Gazans to hear firsthand about this dire situation on the ground.
Netanyahu has denied that any starvation is taking place in Gaza. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Yesterday, investigator Louis Bolden spoke to CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger about what the trade deals mean for you.
And Jill, we've seen some new trade deals announced. Where are we likely to see price increases as a result?
I think you're going to see sticker shock if you're in the market to buy an imported or a domestic car, a computer, a new electronic gadget, and furniture. We have already started to see toy prices start to inch up. I think that will continue towards the holiday season. So if you're not in the market for those goods, don't think you're all set, because there is definitely something afoot, some stealthier price increases. The Wall Street Journal looked at more than 2,000 items sold by Amazon, and it found that really the company is quietly raising prices on a lot of low-cost products, deodorant, protein shakes, pet care items. This has amounted to a 5.2% bump over the past 5 months. So the message and the big takeaway is that not every retailer is doing this, so shop around.
All right, we will wait and see. Jill, thank you. And you can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News. For more analysis, go to JillOnMoney.com. Jill, thank you.
Well, I know the kids don't want to hear this one, but the first day of school is less than 2 weeks away.
Reading, writing, and rising costs. I'm Catherine Silver in Seminole County, where families are gearing up to go back to school with backpacks full of supplies. We'll show you how your donations make a difference.
And we're still under a heat advisory for all of Central Florida through 7 o'clock tonight. Heat indices as high as 110 are quite possible. Now we'll be back to show you when rain could bring us some relief.
There's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. We'll be right back. We are fewer than 2 weeks away from the first day of school for most of Central Florida. This year, inflation and tariffs are forcing many to make some hard decisions as they budget for the year ahead. Some surveys suggest shoppers will spend close to $900 on electronics, clothing, and supplies. News 6's Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver shows us how some students are getting a jump start.
I have my favorite character folder.
It's backpacks like this filled with school supplies. This thing is full. That are filling the gaps for families here in Seminole County, helping kids like Malia Kerr have a successful start.
It's a good thing for me and my sister.
This soon-to-be third grader is one of more than 200 kids getting a jump start thanks to a supply drive. This distribution day at the Boys and Girls Club in Altamont is a real community effort.
It makes a big difference. It alleviates the pressures of the families having to provide supplies for the kids. We've seen kids go through stories you wouldn't believe, but because we were able to give them the support, because we have great partners, we were able to see them through what we say their bright futures.
At present, around 3,500 kids in Seminole County schools experienced homelessness last year. The district says the number continues to grow as families grapple with rising costs. And it's not just supplies children need, it's food and clothes. This clothing pantry is being built at Stenstrom Elementary for students to use and run.
They can feel happy of what they're wearing, and they don't have to be like, oh, this needs to be washed.
They call it Stenstrom Styles.
This just takes it to the next level. Our free and reduced numbers continue to tick up.
Robert Vanderloop is the principal.
They're able to get access to clothing through our social worker, and we are also coupling this with our micro society, and that allows us to make sure that we have workers, managers, all student-led. All of the product as far as furniture that you see here is donated through the partnership with IKEA Orlando, so we can't thank them enough. And then all of the clothing is donated from our families, and then we're also working with the GROW program for new shoes.
Could you do this without the community's support?
No.
Community. It's what makes Stenstrom the perfect fit. Are you proud that this is part of Stenstrom Elementary?
Yes, I'm very proud because I am a student here, and that means I'm a part of it too.
In Seminole County, Catherine Silver, News 6.
Good stuff. News 6 is helping teachers start the year strong, too. We created a county-by-county gift list with the supplies they need the most. You can scan the QR code on your screen and find the links at clickorlando.com/back-to-school. It's a great way to support our educators together. And be sure to watch our back-to-school special with News 6. We want to make sure you and your family are ready for the first day. We'll have everything you need to know this upcoming Wednesday at 3 p.m. You can watch it live on News 6 or stream it on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus Smart TV app. All right, time to get a check of your weather. Meteorologist Samara Coquinos is in. Do we have any of those pesky afternoon showers coming at us?
Just a few.
Not much.
Just a few, not a lot. And we weren't anticipating a lot anyway. We do anticipate greater rain chances as we head into the weekend, so we do have that to look forward to. Right now on the radar, we did have a little bit of rain there in Sumter County, kind of fizzling out right now, but a few showers just to the west of southern Sumter County. Really nothing playing a big, cooler like for us. We get one of those showers, it cools you down a little bit, but the thing about it is once that happens, the humidity just goes right back up, right? As we look at temperatures outside your door, it's pretty, you can tell we haven't had any rain today. Look at 92 in Ocala, feeling like 100 still. 90 in the Villages, feeling like 113. Sanford, feeling like 104 as you sit at 95 this evening, and 83 in Cocoa Beach, feeling like 91. We did have a little bit of rain, but that has since moved on. The heat risk as we head into tomorrow is still going to be substantial. It looks like it's going to be major for the majority of Central Florida, but you'll notice across the interior in Sumter, as well as portions of Lake going into Flagler, even probably northernmost Marion County, and even parts of Seminole and Orange County going to be in that extreme risk. But you'll notice that those areas have shrunk over the last few days. When we started telling you about these heat risks over the weekend, this purple was expanded over a large portion of Central Florida. So I do believe that, like today, we're still under that heat advisory until 7. We're going to have that once again tomorrow, kick off at noon and run through 7 o'clock. We'll have late day thunderstorms that come in. And we also, by the weekend, will see that surge of moisture that'll help bring us more widespread rain chances. The tropics, nice and quiet for now, just how we like it. Here's the setup, though. This is what we're going to be dealing with as we head into the weekend. We will have a front that is going to stall just to our north. That's going to help us pump in some lower level moisture, and that'll give us more widespread rain chances as high pressure that we're dealing with right now makes its way to the south and east, kind of weakening that barrier that we've had that's kept us fairly dry. Looking at the clouds and rain forecast, we start the clock at 5. I don't believe that the majority of this rain that this particular model is picking up on is going to happen, but I can't rule out maybe a few sprinkles of rain across our western zones. But we're going to be fairly dry as we start the day tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning. Plenty of sunshine to go around by the afternoon. There's a few pockets of rain possibly in and around the Cape as well, so we'll be watching that for that launch forecast. But as we look throughout the day, you'll notice that the majority of the rain, even at 3 o'clock, is still around I-4 and to the south and southeast. So we're not talking about our north and western counties really getting a whole lot of rain for tomorrow. So when we look at the overall coverage of rain, anywhere between about 30 and 50% from about Daytona Beach going back in across the interior, going into Orlando, Kissimmee, and then near the Brevard County coast, everywhere outside of that is still fairly low. So later on tonight, here's a look at that forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Mid to upper 70s and lower 80s. And as I take you hour by hour through the day tomorrow, we'll hit a high of 96. With that 40% coverage of rain in the second half of the day, heat advisory again, noon through 7 with heat index values potentially up near 110 degrees. Looking at the 7-day forecast though, check this out. After a couple more days of sweltering heat, rain chances go up to 70%. That's going to give us an increasing rain as well as increasing cloud cover, bringing temperatures down a couple of degrees, not by much, right? 94 is still going to feel a lot better than it has been feeling here lately. Your overnight lows stay in the upper 70s, Matt.
All right, Samara, thank you. Now to a question for our traffic safety expert. Someone wanted to know if they could custom wrap their license plate to a different color. Trooper Steve has the answer next. Here's a live look at Mount Dora. You're watching News 6, and we're thankful for that. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the mornings, a tax break on school supplies officially underway.
Why, though, parents may still end up paying more this year, even with the discount.
And no big relief for our scorching summer temperatures. And I'll have an update on how that shapes up for your weekend.
We'll see you for News 6 mornings starting at 6.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? Can I custom wrap my license plate to a different color? All right, listen, you might have seen this on social media because I know I have. Instagram, TikTok, maybe even sometimes Facebook stories, but you get advertised, hey, send us your license plate and we'll turn it into a custom wrap. Stuff like this. I can tell you right now, there is no Ferrari license plate in the state of Florida. There's Ferraris, right? But you can't put this stuff on your tag. So the way you receive your license plate is the way you should keep your license plate. Technically, that does not belong to us. It's on loan from the state of Florida, and that's how we're able to drive on our roadways legally. But Florida law says you're not allowed to do any of this stuff. You can be pulled over for a primary traffic stop if the law enforcement officer notices that, hey, you have a custom wrapped license plate. Look, Florida already has like 30 plus different ones. Just head to the DMV and pick one of those. If you got a traffic safety question, you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
I did not know people were wrapping license plates. We learn something new every day. Well, News 6 at 5 is up next. We're going to take you to one community asking people living there to help solve crimes. We're going to show you how. Plus, a local hospital is getting calls from across the Southeast to help deal with a growing problem, the small piece of technology that's the reason why. And first, some breaking news on a story we've been following all day. A dog that killed a baby has been put down. What investigators say happened. And your forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all these newscasts and live cameras like this one at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus.
You have a young mother will remember on her birthday that her child is dead.
Now at 5, an infant has died after being killed by a family dog. How investigators say this happened. Plus, 4 astronauts have to wait a little while longer for their time aboard the International Space Station.
And after today's scrub launch, I'll have your updated forecast.
And later,
close to 97% of people die.
The test developed here in Central Florida to detect a rare but serious illness. You're watching News 6 at 5.
We begin with breaking news out of Ormond Beach. Volusia County officials say a dog has been put down after deputies say it killed a 5-month-old.
The Volusia sheriff says the dog got a hold of the baby late last night on a home off Carolina Avenue in the Ormond Beach area. Family members tried to help the child, but he died at the hospital.
Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed spoke with the sheriff. She has the details.
The sheriff here says that this was just a tragic and unbelievably sad incident, and one where the family truly thought they were being careful. He says that the great-grandmother and the great-aunt were babysitting the 5-month-old as the parents went out for the mother's birthday dinner.
A young mother will remember on her birthday that her child is dead. And the grandparents, I just don't know how anybody feels about this. It is so tragic.
Sheriff Chitwood says the grandmother put the child in a crib in a bedroom and shut the door. He says she then let the dogs out of their crates after keeping them separated from the baby.
They go into the kitchen to make tea and toast, and when they return, they notice that the bedroom door is open.
Sheriff Chitwood says the 2-year-old Great Dane was able to open the door and got to the infant. The baby was on the floor bleeding when the grandmother got inside the room.
As she's on the phone with 911, mom and dad come home. They see the little boy, they scoop him up, and they rush him to Advent Hospital in Daytona Beach, where he is pronounced dead.
The dog was taken by Volusia County Animal Services. It didn't have any history of aggressive behavior, according to the county.
A 5-month-old is how big compared to a 130-pound puppy that could just simply think it's a toy or whatever, and then grabs it and bites it and shakes it and obviously it kills the baby.
In Volusia County, I'm Molly Reed, News 6.
Now, with today's case in mind, we also had questions about another deadly encounter with dogs earlier this year. 8-year-old Michael Millette was killed by dogs inside a gated community in DeLand. This happened back in January. Both dogs were put down after it was confirmed they were responsible. Earlier this month, the state attorney's office covering Brevard and Seminole counties issued a statement saying they expected to share a decision soon on if the owners of those dogs could be charged. That was 3 weeks ago, so we reached out again today to the attorney's office to see when they think that decision could be made. At this point, we have not yet heard back, but we'll keep you posted. The Brevard and Seminole County State Attorney's Office has been investigating the case because of a conflict of interest in Volusia County. Investigators in Brevard say that they've been working closely with the Volusia Sheriff's Office to get the necessary evidence, including lab testing, which can take some time.
After Michael's death, Volusia Sheriff Mike Chitwood spoke in support of the Pam Rock Act, which was signed into law by Governor DeSantis and took effect at the start of the month. The law established new rules for owners of dangerous dogs. It defines those dogs as being found to have killed or bitten a person, be immediately taken and held during an investigation. It requires these dogs to be microchipped and spayed or neutered, and owners must obtain at least a $100,000 liability insurance policy. Owners of dogs that have dangerous propensities must also keep their dogs secure on their property as if they were deemed dangerous.
Developing tonight, investigators in Eatonville are trying to track down a number of people after neighbors say a shootout happened earlier this week. The phones were ringing off the hook at the Eatonville Police Department just after 7:30 Tuesday night, with several people calling from the Catalina Park community saying there was a shootout going on. Neighbors said there were 4 people wearing ski masks with rifles running away from the area in separate cars. Our crews went back to the neighborhood today to see if there was any evidence of what happened, like bullet holes. We did find some in some homes. So far, no injuries have been reported and no victims have come forward. Anyone who has any information about what happened is asked to contact Crime Line. Here's the number. It's on your screen. It's 800-423-TIPS. Again, 800-423-8477.
Taking a live look at the Space Coast tonight, where a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket remains standing tonight with a Dragon capsule right there on top. Today's Crew 11 launch to the International Space Station was scrubbed due to weather. Samara, weather was 90% favorable just a few hours before launch. What happened? And how are we looking tomorrow?
Yeah, all it takes is one cloud. I mean, you can't fly through a storm cloud because it creates friction. And when you're sending a rocket into outer space with people on board and it's fueled, I mean, you really don't want to create that friction and have a really bad result because of that. So when we take a look here at the scrub launch, earlier the radar did indicate that there was a shower around that area, but also you have to look back across the river there and you see that there were more on the way. So it was a good idea to go ahead and scrub that launch. It wasn't going to clear out that quickly. Now, when we look at the bigger picture, all of the rain was moving from west to east today, courtesy of this area of high pressure, kind of making everything flow in that direction. Now, this area of high pressure is going to move to the south and east a little bit. It's going to break that dry pattern that we have beginning tomorrow. So I do believe we could possibly squeak out a launch. We'll see. Your launch percentage is about 85% go, high of 91. So we'll be closely watching that, Matt and Ginger.
Samara, thank you. Well, News 6 was the first to tell everybody about the scrub. Ginger, that's because you were out there at Kennedy Space Center to tell us about it.
Okay, so we spotted this giant shaft of rain. I was sitting there and my photojournalist, Homer Salcedo, said, turn around and look at what's happening near the launch pad. It wasn't far from the launch pad. Then everything stopped. We've stopped the clock with 1 minute and 7 seconds.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure if that is exactly listening in. Oh, and we have a scrub, guys. We just heard that we have a scrub. Oh my goodness.
Dragon, SpaceX, bad luck on weather there. We just got clipped by a cumulus cloud right over the pad, so ended up scrubbing for weather.
Samara says it only takes one cloud. A short time later, Crew 11 got out of the SpaceX Dragon capsule. Once they do launch, though, the crew will go to the International Space Station to relieve Crew 10. They have been on the space station for nearly 5 months now. NASA will try again tomorrow at 11:43 in the morning. If the launch happens, you can watch it live on News 6, clickorlando.com, and on the News 6 Plus app.
Well, nearly 3 years ago, we told you the City of Orlando launched Orlando Connect, a partnership to integrate city-owned cameras and privately owned cameras from voluntary participants into a network that could be monitored by Orlando police. It's all an effort to help officers respond to crimes quicker. Now, Clermont police are launching a similar system there. Your Clermont community correspondent, Mark Lehman, is looking at how this system works.
This plan starts with a network of cameras officers can access through their laptops or with their mobile phones. And now police are hoping residents and business owners will help them expand upon that by registering their privately owned security cameras. And all this is part of a plan to keep the city safe.
Right now we can see someone walking out of the side entrance of one of our schools.
It's the newest crime-fighting tool for Clermont Police. Connect Clermont gives officers mobile access to live city and county-owned cameras.
How crucial is it having that real-time access to video? Oh, it's a game changer.
And Captain Malcolm Draper says police hope business and homeowners will take it a step further by registering their security cameras. It doesn't give direct access, but lets investigators know a camera is present.
The fact that an officer knows that you have a camera in that location can cut our investigation time considerably.
Owners can also integrate their cameras, which allows the officer to view the live feed in case of a nearby emergency. It's all part of an overall plan to establish a real-time crime center.
This provides, good usable camera footage if we ever had an incident or anything like that.
This is where that real-time crime center will eventually be built. Clermont police say they'll be knocking down this wall to make room for all of the equipment. This will help them during certain events and large-scale investigations, and the hope is to have everything finished by the end of next year. Draper says the program is gaining support in the community, which helps increase safety.
There's a lot of cameras out there. The more data available to our officers that are boots in the ground, the better.
This program was launched at the beginning of the month, and so far nearly 50 residents have registered their cameras. This is through the Keep Clermont Safe website, and we put details about that under this story on clickorlando.com. I'm your Lake County community correspondent, Mark Lehman, News 6.
One game at a time. That's the approach teams have to take anytime they enter the postseason.
It's a little cliche, but it works for these kids. The Lake Mary Little League All-Stars have to be pretty excited after getting a big win in regionals today. Sports director Jamie Say breaks down their big win.
Yeah, 1 win down, 3 more wins to go for Lake Mary baseball. The defending Little League World Series champions cleared their first hurdle at the Southeast Regionals, and it was an impressive one. Today, Lake Mary opened up against Nolensville, Tennessee, a program that won the Southeast Regional in 2021, 22, and 23. Lake Mary strikes in the first inning. Jacob Brown grounds to short. Levi Rodriguez scores from third, and it's 1-0 All-Stars. Their defense was just outstanding today. Nolensville grounds to second base. Colin Anderson cleans it up, touches the base, then throws to first for the double play. Still 1-0 Lake Mary in the fourth inning, but Nolensville would tie it up then on the RBI ground out. So we got a 1-1 ball game. Top 5, though. Lake Mary retakes the lead. Runners on the corners for Maddox. Novichkov sends the deep fly to center for a sac fly. Jacob Brown tags and scores. Lake Mary is ahead. So could they protect that lead? Here's the answer.
Tapper right back to Roy Key, and that should do it. It does. Lake Mary wins the opening game of the Southeast Regional.
All right, Lake Mary prevails 2-1 over Nolensville. The All-Stars get a terrific effort from starting pitcher Jacob Brown. He finished with 6 strikeouts. So Lake Mary advances to the winner's bracket of the Southeast Regional. They're going to play the West Virginia State champion tomorrow at 4 o'clock. If Lake Mary goes 4-0, or 4-1 at the Southeast Regional, they win that, and then they also punch their return ticket to the Little League World Series in Williamsport. Regional championship is Tuesday, so there's still a ways to go, but that is a great start today for this
really
team.
Is. I feel like I'm having flashbacks.
I know. They look like a team that's been there. They just look cool and collected.
Well, this was a big one because during the Florida State Championships, you know, they would win rather handily. Nolensville comes back to tie it late, and what a response for Lake Mary to come and put the winning run on the board.
They're ready.
Jamie.
Yes,
right,
they
thank you,
are.
Jamie.
Yep.
Well, next at 5, the local hospital incredibly busy getting calls for help from across the Southeast, the unique innovation that has the phones ringing off the hook. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
No one should have to assume their child might not come back from just swimming and having fun with friends.
A nightmare that I'm still waiting to wake up from. We just went back home a couple days ago just from knowing the memories that we have there with him and knowing that I'm waiting on him to come through the door.
A warning from the parents of a 12-year-old boy who died after swimming in a popular South Carolina lake. 12-year-old Jason Carr was enjoying summer before July 4th holiday. Days later, he told his parents he had a headache. 2 weeks after that, he died. Doctors learned the boy was actually infected with a brain-eating amoeba, something that's critical to diagnose early.
And that is why the phones have been busy at Advent Health, where a new test was developed to detect the amoeba. News 6's Angie Casada spoke with the doctors who developed it.
Cases are rare, but nearly always deadly. Doctors say timing is everything, and this innovative test could save lives. It looks like an ordinary summer day, but beneath the surface, a rare and deadly danger could be lurking. This week, a boy in South Carolina died after being exposed to a brain-eating amoeba. He's the second confirmed case in the U.S. this year.
So the interesting thing is around 164 cases have happened in the last 60 years. So if we see that in perspective with other diseases, we can say that it's a rare and very uncommon disease. Until it happens to someone that we love, right? That become a significant situation. It's a disease that have a low prevalence, have a high mortality. Close to 97% of people die.
That's why Dr. Jose Alexander and his team at Advent Health developed a test that identifies the amoeba faster than any other in the country.
The idea is to provide the clinician a rapid diagnostic with a sample of spinal fluid and a patient that have a high suspicion of amoeba infection. And this sample arrived to the laboratory, and in approximately 3 to 5 hours, we are able to have a report back. That increased the probability for the patient to be put in the right antimicrobial treatment faster.
While cases are rare, most happen in the summer.
So for people from Central Florida, we are getting hotter and hotter summers, and even winters are getting shorter and summers are getting longer. So we are having more time of the year with temperature over 80 degrees. So that means the amoeba will be active. So I think it's important for Floridians, especially for Central Florida, and if across the year, I think we'll get a point, and we should think in this way, this is not a summer issue. This probably will be an issue across the year.
Awareness that could mean the difference between life and death. And here in Florida, where warm, fresh water is everywhere, doctors urge parents to be extra cautious. Reporting in Orlando, I'm Angie Casada, News 6.
It's just so eye-opening when you know that these
terrifying.
things can happen. But thank goodness for the doctors at Advent Health who
Working
are
on
doing
that
everything
test.
they can. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Samara Kokinos, our meteorologist, joining us now. Kind of a calm evening when it comes to those storms, even though it messed up a launch earlier today.
I mean, it was in and then it was out. I mean, it was kind of like a tease for that launch. I felt bad when I was watching it earlier at the noon hour. I was home watching it. But as we take a look at the radar tonight, you'll see that the rain that was along the coast kind of fizzled out. And tonight, all that we are really watching is this one lone storm cell. It's not even a storm, it's a shower, producing some moderate to heavy rain as it kind of lingers around the Oak Ridge just south of Conway area. So that's about it. That's all. And I mean, we can really see it reflected in temperatures, okay? So when we look at those temperatures, we're at 93 in Orlando, feeling like 100. The Village is still at 92, feeling like 115 out there. I think that may be a little bit off, but 91 in Clermont, feeling like 104, while Melbourne is sitting at 90, feeling like 102. That means we're still under that heat advisory through 7 o'clock tonight for all of Central Florida. And when we look at the heat risk associated with tomorrow, you'll notice that the purple, well, over the last few days, even from the weekend, we have been seeing purple kind of all over this map. Notice it's starting to dial back a little bit. So our heat risk is going down, but it's still out there, folks, enough that we will see heat advisories issued once again tomorrow, starting at noon through 7 for heat index values up to 110 possible. So I don't want you to take it lightly, even though we're starting to see that heat risk go down just a little bit. It's still dangerous levels. We'll see some late day thunderstorms and then higher rain chances as we head into the weekend. The tropics, they're quiet for now, just how we like it. The big picture, though, this is going to be the setup. Right now we have an area of high pressure over Central Florida. That area of high pressure is going to move back to the south and east. what's going to allow basically for that moisture to build in is that movement of that high pressure and then this front to our north. It's going to basically stall out, and we're going to build in a lot of moisture ahead of that. So that's why we're going to see increasing rain chances as we head into the weekend. Now, as we start the day tomorrow at 7 a.m., you'll notice plenty of sunshine overnight. I think we're nice and quiet, folks. As we head into the noon hour, we start to see maybe a few showers popping up. That could mean make or break that launch once again tomorrow if those showers get started earlier near that Cape. You see the Cape there kind of light up a little bit. Some of those thunderstorms or showers could get started as early as 11:30, so we'll keep an eye on that for you, and of course the progress of the launch. But you'll notice that the majority of the downpours are happening around I-4 and to the south and east, and they'll linger as we head into about the early evening, maybe your drive time home before things start to clear out. So when we talk about your rain coverage, anywhere from, I would say, I-4 to the south and east, about 30 to 50% coverage. I think we're more going to stay around that 40% coverage overall. And then outside of that, talking about Marion, Lake Sumter counties, and even Flagler County, even part of northwestern Volusia, around 20 to 30%. So for your overnight lows, we'll stay right around the mid to upper 70s to lower 80s. And then as we look at the day tomorrow, we'll walk you hour by hour. By 4 o'clock, we reach a high of 96 with a 40% coverage of rain. That heat advisory, again, kicking off at noon, lingering through 7 o'clock for those heat index values up to 110, quite possible. So another day or two of the sweltering heat, and then rain chances will rise as we head into the weekend. We're going to wrap up the weekend with 70% coverage of rain, and then we stay there all the way through the Thursday of next week. Your high temperatures will go down by a degree or two to about 94, but the humidity is still going to be there. Your overnight lows will be in the upper 70s. Ginger, you're like, of course. The humidity is going to be there. It greets us every morning, Samara.
Glad to see the rain chances on there, though.
Our
Thank you. Yeah, Samara. Well, after the break, when was the last time you used a good old-fashioned map? GPS,
It's been a minute.
yeah, right. GPS and smartphones basically killed them.
But years ago, that's all we had. We had no other choice. After the break, where you can see a historic map in Central Florida.
Your Thursday evening traffic alert. Listen, we will not have to deal with that major closure of the Florida Turnpike again, but we will see some lane closures along 417, so be careful there by 528. And then northbound I-95 approaching US 192 just inside of Melbourne. We haven't seen this one for a while, but we will see it again overnight, and then mixed with some possible evening showers. Just be careful out there. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
What?
Wow, that's the shot. Well, check out the newest addition to the Museum of Seminole County's history.
It is a map from 1765. Yes, it is more than 200 years old. And historians believe it is the first time Seminole County was actually put on a map. And they say if you look closely, you can see Lake Harney, even though the surrounding area looks much different than we know it today. We spoke to a local historian who rediscovered this in an archive in London. Today, the county had their big unveiling to kick off their planning for next July when America celebrates 250 years. You can be a part of telling that story and see the map for yourself at the museum. That's very cool.
That was back when you had to tour the place in a wagon and with a horse. All right,
Covered
still
wagon.
to come at 5. Water is always in motion, and for some people living in St. Cloud, so are their water bills. Why officials say there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Glad you're with us. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories for you right now.
including tragic all the way around. That's what Volusia Sheriff Mike Chitwood said earlier today about a 5-month-old boy killed by a dog. It happened late yesterday at a home on Carolina Avenue near Ormond Beach. The sheriff says the dog was a 2-year-old Great Dane mix. Volusia County officials confirm now to us that the dog has been put down.
The Clermont Police Department has launched a real-time camera access network and is calling on the community to help expand its reach. It's called Connect Clermont, and it will give officers mobile access to live city and county-owned cameras. The city continues to work with businesses and homeowners to participate in that program. It's all an effort to help officers respond to crimes quicker. Today, the Lake Mary Little League All-Stars won 2-1 against Tennessee in the first game of the Southeast Regional Tournament. The team will next play tomorrow against West Virginia. After that, the winner of the regionals earns the title as the Southeast team in the Little League World Series.
Well, kids, enjoy it while it lasts, because it is wrapping up. Every school district in Central Florida heads back to the classroom on August 11th. You see it circled there. That's except for students in Sumter County who return August 13th. That's 2 weeks from yesterday. And while back to school is approaching, it is time to get supplies together. The National Retail Federation predicts Americans will spend more than $128 billion this year on back to school shopping. The state is trying to ease a bit of that burden. The state is bringing back the annual back to school sales tax holiday for the entire month of August. No sales tax will be applied for clothes, shoes, wallets, backpacks, and more items costing less than $100. Certain school supplies under $50 and learning aids and puzzles under $30 are also tax-free. And finally, computers with a sales price of $1,500 or less also fall under the tax holiday.
But even with a sales tax holiday, purchasing school supplies can be a burden on families, especially this year. Inflation and looming tariffs are forcing families to make hard decisions as they budget for the year ahead. Some surveys suggest shoppers will spend close to $900 on electronics, clothing, and supplies. Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver shows us a new resource to help bridge that gap for some families.
I have my favorite character folder.
It's backpacks like this filled with school supplies. This thing is full. That are filling the gaps for families here in Seminole County, helping kids like Malia Kerr have a successful start.
It's a good thing for me and my sister.
This soon-to-be third grader is one of more than 200 kids getting a jump start thanks to a supply drive. This distribution day at the Boys and Girls Club in Altamont is a real community effort.
It makes a big difference. It alleviates the pressures of the families having to provide supplies for the kids. We've seen kids go through stories you wouldn't believe, but because we were able to give them the support, because we have great partners, we were able to see them through what we say their bright futures.
At present, around 3,500 kids in Seminole County schools experienced homelessness last year. The district says the number continues to grow as families grapple with rising costs. And it's not just supplies children need, it's food and clothes. This clothing pantry is being built at Stenstrom Elementary for students to use and run.
They can feel happy of what they're wearing, and they don't have to be like, oh, this needs to be washed.
They call it Stenstrom Styles.
This just takes it to the next level. Our free and reduced numbers continue to tick up.
Robert Vanderloop is the principal.
They're able to get access to clothing through our social worker, and we're also coupling this with our micro society, and that allows us to make sure that we have workers, managers, all student-led. All of the product, as far as furniture that you see here, is donated through the partnership with IKEA Orlando, so we can't thank them enough. And then all of the clothing is donated from our families, and then we're also working with the GROW program for new shoes.
Could you do this without the community support?
No.
Community. It's what makes Stenstrom the perfect fit.
Are you proud that this is part of Stenstrom Elementary?
Yes, I'm very proud because I am a student here, and that means I'm a part of it too.
In Seminole County, Catherine Silver, News 6.
She is a part of it too. Catherine, thank you. News 6 is helping your family get ready for that upcoming school year. Our anchors and investigators are looking into everything from school safety to supplies and everything in between. It all comes together at our Back to School with News 6 special next Wednesday at 3 p.m. live on News 6 and streaming on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app.
Well, some people in St. Cloud have been complaining their water bills are unusually high, which caught the attention of your St. Cloud community correspondent, Laverne McGee. She learned Toho Water Authority is aware there is a problem, but found not everyone's situation is the same.
How does it double when we have done nothing different? And there's been times when we've gone away for a week.
Andrew Croak invited us over to his house in St. Cloud to see his water bill for ourselves. Some months around $65 and others around $150, then back down to about $80. The graph compares month-to-month usage, so clearly there's not a leak or it would not go up and down. Croak is part of the Facebook group St. Cloud Rants and Raves, where there are dozens of people with similar complaints.
We do, almost 2 loads of laundry a week. We'll wash our work clothes, all together in one big load, and then we'll wash our towels. And that's pretty much all we do.
He also said he was having trouble getting answers from customer service. I contacted Toho Water Authority, who said they would assist him right away. They told me they're aware of the complaints and they've been trying to work with customers, saying in part, quote, "Our biggest focus has been addressing a rise in failures of the electronic devices that wirelessly send their water usage readings to our billing system. This issue was first identified in January. About 6,500 devices failed in St. Cloud. And we have replaced more than 26,000 devices since February 14th. We expect to replace another 30,000 of them this year with our accelerated plan and project that most of the system will be replaced over the next 3 to 5 years.
I feel like there's a lot of gray area with Toho, and they're just kind of being pretty shady.
Toho Water Authority also told us people might have leaks and that each home may have a different situation. Your Osceola County community correspondent, Laverne McGee, News 6.
An undercount of Florida's population in the 2020 census will cost the state up to $21 billion in federal assistance. The nonprofit group Florida Tax Watch based the calculation on the U.S. Census Bureau post-enumeration survey, which was released in May 2022. It found our state had an estimated 3.5% undercount, the 4th highest rate in the country. Governor Ron DeSantis thinks the federal government might call for a unique mid-decade census because the numbers were flawed, an idea the governor has mentioned before.
There's some districts in this state where you have way more votes being cast than in other districts in these races. And you wonder, how is it that ends up shaking out the way it does? So I do think that we're malapportioned within the state as well as malapportioned in the country.
After the census, Florida gained 1 congressional seat, which was less than expected amid concerns that Florida, Arizona, and Texas undercounted its Hispanic population.
We now know WWE icon Hulk Hogan died of a heart attack. That's according to the medical examiner's report. The report also notes Hogan had a history of leukemia and an irregular heartbeat. The wrestling legend passed away last Thursday. He died at the hospital less than 90 minutes after medics responded to his home in Clearwater for cardiac arrest. Hogan was one of the biggest stars in the history of wrestling. He was 71 years old. As President Trump's trade deal deadline quickly approaches, he's announced a 90-day pause on higher tariffs for Mexico to allow negotiations to continue. But other trading partners who haven't reached a deal will see tariffs increased on Friday.
The rest of those countries that either do not have a deal or have a letter, they will be hearing from this administration by the midnight deadline tonight. So yes, tomorrow, August 1st, the reciprocal rates will be going into effect.
Trump also says Canada's recent plans to recognize Palestinian statehood could threaten trade talks between the two countries.
Severe turbulence struck a Delta flight from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam Wednesday, causing service carts and passengers not wearing lap belts to hit the ceiling, forcing an emergency landing.
While that new investigation opens, day 2 of hearings is underway in Washington, looking into the D.C. mid-air collision between an Army Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines jet earlier this year.
Yeah, everyone involved in that died, including the pilot, who was an Ormond Beach native and Embry-Riddle graduate. Correspondent Ivan Rodriguez has the latest on both stories.
Just as dinner service began on Delta Flight 56 from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam,
we hit the craziest turbulence I've ever seen in my life.
Another passenger on the plane says people who didn't have their seatbelts on were at most risk.
Everyone that didn't have, they hit the ceiling and then they fell to the ground. And the carts also hit the ceiling and fell to the ground, and people were injured.
The plane made an emergency landing in Minneapolis. 25 people on board were taken to local hospitals, and the airline says the majority have been released. The Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board will investigate the incident. Meanwhile, in the nation's capital, the NTSB continued questioning witnesses regarding January's deadly mid-air collision in D.C. between an American Airlines regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter.
Our objective today is to thoroughly understand crew dynamics and air traffic control and operations.
NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy growing frustrated with some of the answers given by representatives of the FAA and Army after 10 hours of testimony Wednesday. The hearing's revelations included that Army helicopters would regularly fly below aircraft that were descending to land at Reagan National Airport.
Why did it take 67 lives to be lost and families who are just destroyed forever to understand what was occurring?
A determination of what caused the crash will come in January. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Well, ever since Terminal C opened at Orlando International Airport, we've been promised a pedestrian bridge from the parking garage to the terminal. News 6 anchor Eric Von Enken has been tracking its progress for years now. He's learning when it might finally be finished. Samara.
And today we got up to 95 degrees in Orlando, staying about 3 degrees above average and below that heat record of 100 set back in 1961. We are under heat advisories. I'll show you where and for how long and what to expect over the next couple of days in just a few minutes.
And 10 days after what was supposed to be a solution to traffic problems on I-4 opened, we're hitting the road there to see how things are running. And take a break from those summer reruns and try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Matt and I have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. It's at 9 o'clock. And then go in-depth as we track the heat, the tropics, and so much more, and answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. That's at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
Taking a live look at Orlando International Airport from our Light Orlando camera. And tonight, we're getting an update about some long-awaited relief at the airport that's been long delayed. If your travel plans take you to MCO's newest terminal this summer, you might be sweating out there still.
Yeah, it's a beautiful terminal, though. But News 6 has learned the new air-conditioned pedestrian bridge that will connect the train station with Terminal C is now almost a year behind schedule. News 6 anchor Eric Von Aken has been following the progress of the vital bridge from the beginning and brings us his latest investigation in a story you'll see only on News 6.
There is still only one way to walk to Terminal C from right here, the train or the tram. So to be clear, if you're arriving here in the new Terminal C, the tram station is right down there. You can see it coming in from the old Terminals A and B. Or if you're arriving here from the Brightline station, you still cannot use that new pedestrian bridge. You still must trek through there, the parking garage, for at least another month, what is typically the hottest month of the year.
I'm sweating. I'm tired. I don't want to do this no more.
Since 2022, when Terminal C first opened, I've been telling you about one of the chief complaints.
It just gets stuck there and then everything falls off.
The hike. Passengers loaded with luggage forced to trudge through the open-air parking garage over the rubber expansion joints that are not friendly to small suitcase wheels. The better way, an indoor pedestrian bridge, has been in the works since 2023, when the airport awarded the $100 million construction contract to an airport builder called White's. But according to this email sent to Orange County's mayor back in May from a White's subcontractor, 12 local subs were not paid by White's $10 million for their work on the bridge for more than half a year. The email says White's is supposed to pay subs within a week. We were tipped off that subcontractors had stopped showing up, so work on the bridge had stopped. White's told me it does not comment on issues related to individual contracts, but, quote, while we recognize that disputes can arise and often involve differing perspective, we are actively meeting with both the airport and subcontractors to work towards resolution, end of quote. And according to the airport, this dispute is now mostly resolved, but still some disputed amounts are being worked through. But this dispute has been quite costly, especially for travelers, passengers who must continue to use that cut-through parking garage to get to the other side of Terminal C until early September, late August at the soonest, from what I've been told. Remember, this was supposed to be done last fall. At the airport, Eric Von Aken, News 6.
I mean, I will say it is one of the prettiest terminals
It is a
I've
gorgeous
seen. Yeah.
terminal once you make it there, because it is tricky on a day like today. If you have to make that walk, it is brutal with a bunch of luggage. Samara Kakinos, our meteorologist, joining us now. Still, is it going to be one of those nights where it's like 91 degrees at 9 o'clock at night?
It's still going to feel like, you know, everything is just wet. Like when you step outside, the first thing that greets you is that warm and humid air, right? That's going to continue to be the case tonight and tomorrow morning, Matt. So if you're planning on walking the dog or getting in an evening stroll or exercising early, just plan on that humidity joining you at least for the next couple of days, if not through the, August, September, October. I would say October, November. Looking at the radar tonight, really limited activity. We do have some showers and a few thunderstorms that have kind of been fizzling out, but that's basically over Polk County, really not making an impact here on us locally. We've had an isolated shower just south of the city, but our Launch Credit Union camera tonight in Cape Canaveral, you can see clear skies out there. It's absolutely beautiful. A little warm though, 94. Right? Feels a lot hotter than that. So let's take a look at what it feels like out at Cape Canaveral. It feels like 109 degrees. And when you look across the interior, you can still see Orlando at 93 feeling like 100. And the same thing for Ocala, 93 feeling like 104. Daytona Beach, 91 feeling like 104. It has been a sweltering setup all across Central Florida for several days. We had 10 heat advisories basically this month, and we're continuing to see one tonight through 7 o'clock where we can still see those heat index values up near 108 to 110, although they'll start to decline over the next hour or so. We're still going to have a heat advisory for tomorrow starting at noon through 7. Deeper moisture is going to be rolling into Central Florida, courtesy of this front that is going to stall out just to our north, and we'll have high pressure that's over us right now move to the south and east, kind of weakening that barrier that's been keeping us dry. So tomorrow I think we're still going to have those slightly slightly lower rain chances between 30 and 40%. Very hot with that heat advisory again, noon to 7 for all of Central Florida. This weekend, though, scattered thunderstorms will definitely be in the mix with rising moisture, bringing that rain coverage up to 70 and 80%. The good news is now that we check on the tropics, we're not going to be expecting any development over the next 7 days. Nice and quiet. Just how we like it, right? Rain coverage, though, when you look at it, you'll see north and western zones really not in the mix. For tomorrow, though, look at this area along I-4 going back to the south and east. That's going to be our most active area. So as we look at the clouds and rain forecast, we start the clock tomorrow morning at 7. You'll notice plenty of sunshine. By noon, we start to see a few isolated showers, possibly along the Cape, too. We'll be watching that for that launch. That's scheduled just before noon. And then a lot of the rain, again, I-4 to the south and east. A few downpours are quite possible through the evening commute home before everything dries out. Here's a look at tonight.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
Your overnight lows will stay right around the mid to upper 70s, even the low 80s in Brevard County. And as we look at that 7-day forecast, you'll notice sweltering heat for the next couple of days, and then as we bump up your rain chances to 70%, it's still going to be very humid out there, but high temperatures will be closer to about 94 or so, and then your overnight lows will stay in the mid to upper 70s for the next 7 nights. News 6, we'll be right back.
Well, 2 weeks ago, News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez was there as officials cut the ribbon on a new diverging diamond at I-4 and Darrell Carter Parkway.
Yeah, it was sold as a solution to traffic headaches there, especially since it's so close to Disney. Now it has been open for about 10 days, so Trooper Steve went on patrol there to see if it's really getting results.
Westbound I-4 here as you're approaching the SeaWorld area, the outlets, 535, things like that. Why has this been the more affected area? Because if you were headed to the area where this ramp now allows you to go, you had to wait all the way to 535 and traffic would just back up for miles. Now look what it has done for us. Now, one, what do we see? No brake lights, no congestion, and if I want to exit here now, I have an option. Before, this was all nothing but grass field. I turn on my turning signal, I exit here to exit 70, the new Darrell Carter Parkway extension, and I pull on in. Little thought for you here, guys. If you realize you made a mistake, you can get back on I-4. So Darrell Carter would be the exit here to the right. But if I knew I made a mistake and I needed to get back on I-4, look what happens. You're allowed to get back onto I-4, and then you just simply continue on. But our job today, we're getting off here at Darrell Carter. Exit coming on up. You have troopers out here for safety reasons, just keeping you aware, lights on, getting you just to pay attention a little bit.
All right, you can hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekday mornings at 10, live on the News 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com.
We have a lot simmering for you for News 6 at 6.
Including disappointment after a highly anticipated crewed launch scrubbed at the very last minute. How disappointed are you that this didn't
I wanted to see it. I thought it launched, but we didn't see it after. They did the countdown, but then it just never launched.
We hear from excited space watchers and the astronauts involved after today's Crew 11 launch was called off.
And homes covered in bullet holes after a shootout at a local park. We hear from a woman whose home was shot at. That's next. Here's a live look from downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
We spoke with the chief of police.
I just don't know how anybody feels about this. It is so tragic.
Tonight at 6, tragedy in Volusia County after an infant is killed by a family dog. Now we're asking, will there be any charges?
I'm not gonna go there. I said what I said.
Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings doubling down. What's next with the battle between the county and the state of Florida on the immigration front? And stormy weather reigns on space lovers' parades when we could finally see Crew 11 take off from the Space Coast. This is News 6 at 6.
We start tonight with a shootout in a local park that has left homes in the area marked with bullet holes.
Eatonville police say these guys were wearing ski masks and carrying semi-automatic rifles. Luckily, no one was hurt. News 6's Orange County community correspondent Troy Campbell is live in the neighborhood where that shootout took place. Troy?
Yeah, we caught up with the chief of police who tells us they've increased patrols in this area after that very frightening shootout. We even spoke with a woman. We're at Catalina Park. She lives right across from here, and she says that her home was actually hit with one of those bullets. Now, Eatonville police say their officers were called out here near the Catalina Park subdivision on Tuesday evening just before 8 p.m. Investigators say residents called in to 911 to report multiple gunshots. Eatonville Police Chief Stanley Murray, he tells us their officers also received help from both Maitland Police and the Orange County Sheriff's Office. However, law enforcement says those 4 suspects, described to be wearing ski masks and armed with semi-automatic rifles, were able to get away. Thankfully, in all this, no one was injured. We spoke with a resident who says she was inside of her house when the bullet hit her home. Take a listen.
I wanted to know what those shots, somebody shooting at the house, why they were shooting. And I told them I didn't know why they were shooting, but because, my first time this ever happened here, and I've been here about 52, 3 years.
We have to make sure that our residents feel safe.
What's your message to anyone who might have information for who's responsible?
Well, if they have it, they need to give it up.
And again, multiple residents out here saying they're just thankful no one was injured. And like you just heard the police chief say, they want someone with information to give these suspects up. So anyone with information is urged to call Crime Line. Their number, 800-423-TIPS. Live in Eatonville, I'm your community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Troy, thank you. Here's a live look now over Daytona Beach. And honestly, some people say it's over the last few days, it's just been a little too hot for the beach.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so everybody's asking, when is it going to get better? We're not talking about a huge drop, but maybe just something. Meteorologist Samara Kokinos is in for Jonathan. Is some sort of mini cool down on the way ever?
Yes,
ever?
Ever? Of course. November. Hello.
Just November.
No, we do have some rain in the mix. I could tell you, I was out at the beach a few days ago during the extreme heat warning. Yeah. It really, people were packing the beach, but I can tell you, I didn't want to be out there for very long.
Yeah.
It was scorching hot. Even today, okay, when you think about it, when Daytona Beach got up to 94 degrees, it didn't break any records, but it felt like triple-digit heat, right? So Orlando, when we look at your high temperature today, 95, stayed below the record of 100. We all stayed below the records today, even Sanford getting up to 97, 92 today in Leesburg. So it was just really a hot day to be out and about anywhere. Looking at the heat advisory, was still in place through 7 o'clock tonight, even though we're going to see these heat index values begin to drop a little bit as we get closer and closer to sunset. So that's the good news. Once you get into this hour, it starts to feel a little bit better as the sun starts to go down. But right now, temperatures in Daytona Beach still feel like 104, while it's currently at 91. And Cape Canaveral, you're at 92, feeling like 106. Orlando at 91, feeling like 100. It is still just sweltering hot out there. The rain has been very minimal. Hardly any rain out there today, but I do have rising rain chances for us in the forecast, and it looks like it's going to arrive this weekend. I'll show you which day this weekend is going to be the wettest coming up in a few minutes. Matt.
To date, the state hasn't kicked in any money in terms of whatever the difference is.
So Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings reiterating today that he thinks the reimbursement rate that federal government agencies pay for the county to house federal inmates in the jail is too low. This comes as the tension over immigration issues is growing. There's been renewed controversy on the county's relationship with ICE. That tension spilled out in dueling press conferences yesterday, we showed you. Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti explains.
County leaders tell us it costs about $145 per day to house an inmate in the Orange County Jail. And per an intergovernmental service agreement, for a federal inmate, the feds reimburse the county at a rate of $88 per day. The discrepancy did not get much attention until this year, when ICE, with the cooperation of the state of Florida, ramped up immigration enforcement, detaining more undocumented immigrants at a faster clip.
To date, the state hasn't kicked in any money in terms of whatever the difference is. We're working with our comptroller's office to really validate what the true cost is for Orange County to hold federal inmates in our facilities.
News 6 spoke to Mayor Jerry Demings Thursday, a day after the mayor and Attorney General James Uthmeier clashed over a letter that Uthmeier sent signaling that if the county does not sign onto a modified ICE agreement to transport federal inmates to places like Alligator Alcatraz, then there would be consequences, perhaps even removal from office.
I spent more years on the streets of Florida patrolling our streets as a law enforcement officer than he's been alive.
I know the mayor said some, disparaging things about me. That's all fine and good. My response is, look at the law.
Do you think your comments were disparaging at all in reference to the Attorney General?
I haven't heard him say that, but if he did, my comments were directly related to the letter that we received and comments that he's made.
He was possibly alluding to the fact that you mentioned his age, that he's 37, and that you've been in law enforcement longer than he's been alive.
I'm not going to go there. I said what I said at that point. We'll move forward. The state has not had great communication with us about the immigration issues. We just got a letter released via the media. They didn't even afford us the courtesy of directly sending the letter to us. And so I don't know, when you say disparaging, listen, we're going to move forward.
And speaking of moving forward, Orange County commissioners plan to address the modified ICE agreement at their next meeting Tuesday. When we asked Demings whether he will stay the course and refuse to sign it, he said, stay tuned. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
While Orange County leaders figure out the issue with ICE, Florida DOJ officials will be there to perform their audit. This is a complicated story, a lot going on between Orange County and the state government. We break it down for you in this story on clickorlando.com.
I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed. Deputies here say a 5-month-old little boy was killed by the family's dog. The sheriff here says this was just a tragic and sad incident, and one where the family thought they were being careful. He says that the great-grandmother and great-aunt were babysitting the little boy while the parents went out for the mother's birthday dinner.
A young mother will remember on her birthday that her child is dead. And the grandparents, I just don't know how anybody feels about this. It is so tragic.
Sheriff Chitwood says the grandmother put the child in a crib in a bedroom and shut the door. He says she then let the dogs out of their crates after keeping them separated from the baby.
They go into the kitchen to make tea and toast, and when they return, they notice that the bedroom door is open.
Sheriff Chitwood says the 2-year-old Great Dane was able to open the door and got to the infant. The baby was on the floor bleeding when the grandmother got inside the room.
As she's on the phone with 911, mom and dad come home. They see the little boy, they scoop him up, and they rush him to Advent Hospital in Daytona Beach, where he is pronounced dead.
The dog was taken by Volusia County Animal Services. It didn't have any history of aggressive behavior, according to the county.
A 5-month-old is how big compared to a 130-pound puppy that could just simply think it's a toy or whatever, and then grabs it and bites it and shakes it and obviously kills the baby.
Now, we have reached out for an update from Volusia County leaders. They told us the dog was put down earlier this afternoon. They sent out a statement that says, quote, "During this difficult time, we ask that the community respect the privacy of the family affected by this tragic loss. Volusia County will continue to work tirelessly to serve the public safety needs of the community and its animals."
All new at 6 now, the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate here in Florida is dropping out because of health issues. You may remember Josh Weil. He ran for the U.S. House of Representatives against Republican Randy Fine earlier this year. He lost that race and declared he would be running against Senator Ashley Moody next year. Well, now he says because of a blood disorder, he'll be stepping down. In a statement, Weil said, quote, "Florida deserves a U.S. Senator who can fight for them 100% of the time. I do not wish to hold that seat if I cannot give them that 100% that they deserve," end quote. He also said he's dropping out of the race so early, hoping another Democrat will be able to have a successful campaign.
We've got about a minute here. We've stopped the clock with 1 minute and 7 seconds. Oh, and we have a scrub, guys. We just heard that we have a scrub. All right, we didn't want to hear that, and obviously that was me just a few hours ago at Kennedy Space Station Center, finding out in real time about the scrub while on air. And we were there during our new newscast when the crewed launch was supposed to take off from our Space Coast, but a storm cell kept Crew 11 on the ground and Crew 11 still on, Crew 10, I should say, still on the ISS. Crew 10 has been on the space station for nearly 5 months now. Both crews are scheduled to stay on the space station together while Crew 11 gets acclimated, when Crew 10 will return to Earth in Crew 11's Dragon capsule. It's the second delay for Zena Cardman. She was the commander of this mission. She's supposed to head to space last fall to bring 2 Starliner astronauts home from their extended time in space.
I'm a human being. I'm an astronaut. I want to fly in space. But seeing my teammates come off of that aircraft and seeing Butch and Sunny come off as well, it was really special, and I was so grateful that I got to be there and hug them in person.
And the scrub wasn't just disappointing to the astronauts, but space lovers who came from far and wide to witness this launch. I spoke to some who made the most of the scrub by taking advantage of the KSC Visitor Center. I caught up with some of them while walking back to their cars. Where you guys from?
Indiana.
And did you come here just for this?
No, we such a perk. We saw it was happening, so we thought we'd come.
And then it was scrubbed.
Yeah, it was scrubbed.
So will you be back?
Probably not.
What were you guys looking forward to, though?
We wanted to see the launch. Yeah, we wanted to see the launch. We've never seen like an up-close launch, but it's cool. They're probably going to reschedule it. We'll probably come back and see it. It's no biggie.
It's tomorrow.
Really? Okay. Yep.
It's priceless.
Funny.
Okay, we'll be back. NASA is set to try again tomorrow morning at 11:43 if the launch happens. You can watch it live on News 6, clickorlando.com, and on the News 6 Plus app.
Lake Mary wins the opening game of the Southeast Regional.
The Lake Mary Little League boys one step closer to another trip to the World Series. Can they reach the top for a second year in a row?
Ahead in sports, Jamie Say walks us through what's next. But first, what's the cost of staying cool during a hot Florida summer? Well, if you've taken a look at your electric bill lately, you know it is not cheap. The grant program leaders hope to help those who need it most coming up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
Right now, much of Central Florida is under a heat advisory, including the Paramore area near downtown Orlando. That area is feeling what's known as the heat island effect.
Yeah, it does have a name. That's when buildings in a city's downtown reflect the heat of the day, sending much of it into the community just outside the city center. News 6 Paramore community correspondent Jarrell Baker spoke with the neighbors about what they do to beat the heat.
It is not hard to tell that it is crazy hot outside, especially here in Paramore, where there are a lot of low-income families. Now, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, people who live in communities near a downtown center, traditionally lower income, are also more prone to having pre-existing health conditions that flare up in the heat. For Calvin Jones, who takes medication for his heart condition and high cholesterol, he says he has to keep his AC running constantly, but his window units are costing him a hefty penny.
We were like $300-400. Lately, last month it was 200 something. It went down.
Oh, wow. So that's 200 is down from 300.
Right.
And after a week of killer heat, a lot of people, including myself, are wondering, when are things going to cool down? I'm no meteorologist, but Samara Kokinis is, and she has a look at your forecast. Samara?
You are absolutely right, Jarrell. And as we take a live view from our Daytona Beach Skycam, you can still see some people out there enjoying the beach side. A lot of people have been doing that to beat the heat over the last couple of days with umbrellas and tents to give them that shade and fans and staying cool and hydrated. But you can see the water, the waves are pretty nice out there, so it's not too bad. Temperatures in Daytona Beach, 94 degrees, along with Sanford. Good evening to you in Orlando, checking in at 91. Melbourne, you're currently at 89, but of course it's all about how it feels outside, right? And it feels a lot hotter than actual temperatures. Right now we're under a heat advisory until 7 o'clock. You can see heat index values still between 102 to 113 degrees. They will continue to get a little bit better as that sun gets closer to setting. So looking at the heat risk for tomorrow, we've been seeing over the last few days a lot of this purple pretty much encompassing the majority of the map. However, notice today, what we're looking at for tomorrow is a little bit more of still the major heat risk, but we're seeing a little bit less of that purple. I do believe that we're still going to be very hot tomorrow, and we will have a heat advisory begin at noon through 7 o'clock. That's already in the mix for tomorrow. Feels like temperatures will be up near 110 degrees. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will make their way in, especially by the end of the weekend, with moisture creeping up, and we'll see about a 70 to 80% coverage of rain. Looking at the satellite and radar, we haven't had much on our local radar, but here's the bigger picture I want you to see. This front making its way across through the deep south. You'll notice that it is pushing into northern Georgia as well as Alabama tonight. But what's going to happen over the next day or so is it's going to continue to move to the south and then stall out just across northern Florida. A deeper moisture really feeding in. High pressure is going to move to the south and east and begin to weaken that little dome that has been giving us this dry and hot weather. Quick look at the tropics. No tropical development is expected over the next 7 days. That's exactly the way we like to keep it. But rain chances for tomorrow still limited in some areas. Notice to the north and west from going Marion County, Lake and Sumter County between about 20 and 30%, while everyone to the east slightly higher at about 40%. So let me show you the clouds and rain. We start the clock at 7. We're pretty dry till about noon. Notice in and around Orlando all the way to the Cape, we could be dealing with a few downpours. That continues along that I-4 corridor again back to the south and east is where a lot of this rain is going to be focused through at least the drive home, and then everything clears out. So here's a look at tonight.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
Your overnight lows will stay in the mid to upper 70s to lower 80s. Very warm and very humid, and that's exactly the way we're going to stay as we head into at least the start of the weekend. So the next couple of days, sweltering heat, and then the rain chances go up to about 70% on Sunday, and we stay there, keeping high temperatures near 94. I know everybody's like, wait a minute, 2 degrees, that's all we're gonna get.
I'll take whatever.
I know, I'm like, let's go for it. It's gonna help the lawns. It's gonna help your air conditioning bills kind of go back down a little bit, hopefully.
Help my mental state.
We need the rain for a lot of reasons.
Thanks, Samara.
Hey, Sports Director Jamie Say is here. Jamie, the Lake Mary Little League All-Stars take the field in the regionals.
Yeah, the Little League baseball team also takes a big step toward the World Series today. Highlights of Game 1 are on the way. Plus, Steve Trimper has led Stetson baseball to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. Well, today, a coach familiar to Central Florida joins Trimper's team. That story next. The Lake Mary Little League All-Star Baseball team is one victory closer to the World Series. Today, the All-Stars cleared their first hurdle at the Southeast Regional Tournament in Warner Robins, Georgia. Lake Mary opened up against Nolensville, Tennessee, a program that won the Southeast Regional in 2021, 22 and 23. But Lake Mary strikes in the first inning. Jacob Brown grounds to short. Levi Rodriguez going to score from third, and it's 1-0 All-Stars. Their defense was just outstanding today. Nolensville grounds to second. Colin Anderson cleans it up, touches the bag, then throws to first for the double play. Still 1-0 Lake Mary in the fourth inning, but that's when Nolensville ties it on the RBI ground out. So it's a 1-1 ball game. Top five, though. Lake Mary retakes the lead. Runners on the corners for Maddox Novichkov. He sends a deep fly to center for a sac fly. Jacob Brown scores. Lake Mary prevails 2-1 today over Nolensville. So the All-Stars advance to the winner's bracket. Will play West Virginia tomorrow at 4. If Lake Mary wins 3 more games, they're the regional champs and will head back to the Little League World Series. The Stetson baseball team has enjoyed its share of success over the years, and today head coach Steve Trimper announced a move that bolsters local and national expectations. News 6's Ryan Welch has the story.
Stetson baseball has a good thing going, and head coach Steve Trimper aims to keep it that way.
We want to win championships, and we want to go on and we want to compete on the national stage. Would I love to play in Omaha? Would I love to win a national championship? Absolutely.
That championship standard got a lift today as the Hatters announced their new assistant coach and recruiting coordinator, former UCF head coach Greg Lovelady, who spoke with News 6 sports director Jamie Say earlier on.
Why is Stetson a good fit for you?
Yeah, I mean, I just think obviously to work for somebody like Coach Trimper, who's just had a lot of success, and I think is a really, really great coach. Obviously, a great program that's been winning, and a great location. Obviously, in a talent-rich state that, again, I have a lot of ties to.
It's a big coup for us, a big get for us. I mean, he's a well-established Division I head coach, has tons of experience as both an assistant and a head coach. It's a great fit for him just with the high school ties, the travel ball ties, having Greg and those ties to greater central Florida area, but certainly the whole state. That's so key.
It was just a no-brainer for me. You know, I'm excited to kind of get to work and really kind of recruit, develop, and see how far we can take this.
Covering the Stetson Hatters in DeLand, Ryan Welch, News 6.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, the other member of the News 6 sports team had an interesting assignment today. We sent video journalist Nathaniel Rivas to Disney's Wide World of Sports to check out the wild and wacky games of ESPN The Ocho, dodgeball, slippery stairs, pop darts. Wide World of Sports is opening ESPN The Ocho event to the public tomorrow. It's free. Go to clickorlando.com. You'll see Nathaniel get hit by a dodgeball and get more information. For sure.
All right, thanks. Join us for our next newscast at 11 o'clock.
See you then. Bye. That looked like fun.
I'll have to go tell Penny. My husband was watching because he supports us. And he said, I liked how Jarrell tossed to you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it was neat. It's a time saver, too.
We all thought that worked well.
Yeah.
You want to do the longer one or the short one first?
I don't care, whichever one you want me to do.
Let's do the 4 second first. Oh, never mind. 8 seconds.
8 seconds first? Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm pinpointing another round of dangerous heat and rising rain chances. Wow, that's a lot longer than I'm used to. Okay, I'm used to.
You're used to the weekend.
3 seconds, Samara. Oh man. Okay. Let me think about that. Okay. Okay. Ready?
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm pinpointing another round of dangerous heat that could lead to more heat advisories plus rising rain chances just in time for the weekend.
All right, now 4 seconds.
Now this is what I'm used to.
This one you're used
This one I'm good.
All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
We have more dangerous heat in the forecast plus heat advisories and rising rain chances.